Alright, greetings everybody. Welcome to Candid Night at Mount Eden Baptist Church. My name is Ronna Spowers. I'll be the moderator / facilitator of the night. I don't have any preset questions. But I want to thank everybody for being here. And to me, we know that voting is important. We know that turnout for this election has been lower than normal, or low in general. But what I am excited for is to see that we have a younger generation that is taking this on, and that I want to commend Chaz for his first ever canvas forum that he put together. So courage, vision, and leadership, so I truly appreciate that, our youth are our future. And so I think we're going to give the people on Facebook a chance to get some questions. We'll go through those in a second, but we can start with, I guess I'm on the ends. Let's see from first. So, Stacey, do you want to start first, or you can go to the mic and just, you want to say a couple minutes about your platform? And we'll give everybody, let's say 3 minutes? 2? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll give 2 minutes for your platform, and then we'll move on.
Good evening. I want to thank you for having us here at Mount Eden for your Candidates Forum. My name is Stacey Benson Taylor, and I am one of the candidates for Dayton City Commission. I am a lifelong Dayton resident, graduate of Sinclair Community College, Rice State University, and University of Dayton School of Law. While going to Sinclair, I worked at Delphi, General Motors, and then I left and went to the Montgomery County Public Defender's Office, where I went to Rice State and then UD while I was working at the Public Defender's Office. I then went on to the AFSCME, which is the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, where I represented public employees throughout the Montgomery County and 13 other counties. I became the regional director for AFSCME 3 years ago, and recently left that job at AFSCME to run for Dayton City Commission because I believe in this city. I've spent my career fighting and working for working families, and I believe that I have the ability to now fight and I'd say advocate from a different perspective for the citizens of Dayton. My goal is to be a bridge to a brighter future for Dayton, building on the things that have worked for the city and improving on the things that have not. Communication is important and vital. We need to improve communication between the citizens and City Hall and the administration. We need to make sure that we are balancing our budget and maintaining our staffing levels so that we can provide quality services. We also need to maintain that we continue the work that we have started with the police reform, and I say started as the co-chair of the Police Reform Training Committee with Commissioner Fairchild. This is a start. And so I have a lot to bring to the table, and I ask for your vote for City Commission. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Scott Sliver, and I'm also one of the candidates for Dayton City Commission. It's great to be here with everyone tonight. Thanks Chaz for putting this together, and to Mount Eden Church for hosting us. A little bit about me. I have a professional background in advertising, marketing. I had my own business for 6 years in the early 90s. My first apartment was on Grafton Avenue when I was right out of college. I worked downtown when the arcade was still functioning well back then. I currently run a mobile food pantry that provides groceries to 1,000 households every month in Greene and Montgomery counties. Been doing that for about 12 years. I'm just very excited to see the opportunities that we have in our city. With my background in communication, I think I can really help improve communication between the citizens and the city, and between the city and its citizens. I want to improve opportunities for families, for kids. I've been a mentor in Dayton Public Schools for the past 5 years. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I'm excited to be here and to just have a good conversation tonight. So thanks for being here.
Hello, my name is Valerie Duncan, and I'm a candidate for the Dayton City Commission. I'm a resident since high school times, and I was living in the Belmont neighborhood area, and went to Belmont High School. Then I went over to Wilburite neighborhood and graduated from there. Went to Wright State University, got an urban affairs degree. Then did an internship with the Southeast Priority Board, and eventually got a staff position back in 1975. So I got a lot of experience with neighborhood associations. At one time, I was the only staff person assisting neighborhoods, and so I was going to a neighborhood meeting or a business association meeting almost every day or night. And so I got a lot of experience dealing with neighborhoods and business associations. In that time, I was able to put together proposals for the Southeast Party Board neighborhoods, $500,000 was granted to them for different neighborhood projects. Some were parks, some were bleachers, all kinds of different things. My experience continued on with the city, and after 31 years, I retired. But I know the day-to-day operations of the city of Dayton for 31 years. I think I'm best qualified for the job of the city, and I hope I get your support. Thanks for all of you to invite us here. Thank you.
My name is Ronna Spowers, and I'm running for mayor. Thank you very much for inviting me here. It's a great joy to be with you. I'm not a politician. I'm a retired Dayton Fire Chief. I joined the Dayton Fire Department in 1989, progressed to the ranks of firefighter, lieutenant captain, retiring as a district chief in 2019. That gives me a unique perspective because I've been in more homes than all of the candidates up here combined over a 30-year career, thousands of homes. I've been in their homes during a time of crisis, when people are having heart attacks, people have been shot, people have been stabbed, people have been hit by cars, you name it, we've seen it over a 30-year career. And I think I bring a unique perspective also because I'm a man of faith. The Lord Jesus saved me in 1974, and I've been following him for 47 years. He is my Lord and Savior, and I believe he is the answer to all of Dayton's problems. Dayton is facing a lot of critical issues, and if we think that men, the people at these tables, men and women, the people at these tables have all the answers, we are mistaken. We don't. But I do believe that there is wisdom in this room. I do believe that God can bring it together. One of the main objectives that I have had since I've been retired in the 2 years is to develop relationships with black pastors. And so through this, we've had these men in our home. We've been in their homes. They love me. I love them. And I believe that if we cannot get the black churches and the white churches together, then really what is our hope of uniting this city? So I believe this is the first step, and I believe that together we can solve the issues that Dayton is facing. One of my main things is abandoned homes. Got one more minute?
No, 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Abandoned homes. We have to get rid of the abandoned homes. 10,000 abandoned homes. They suppress everybody's property value. The druggies get in them, they overdose, the coroner comes and takes their bodies out in body bags. It depresses the neighborhood. We want to reinstill pride in all 60 neighborhoods in the city. Thank you very much. May 4th is the primary. I would really appreciate your support.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gary Lightsell. I am the former mayor of Dayton, Ohio. I was mayor between 2010 and 2014. I ran at that time because Dayton needed change, and I brought change for those 4 years. I think we're crying out for change again now because we have seen very little change in the last 8 years with the current administration. My sign down the front, if you can see it, says GoGaryGo.com. I would ask you to check out that website. You will find out everything you need to know about my background, how I grew up in England, how I lived in Pittsburgh, how I came to Dayton 26 years ago, how I was the president of my neighborhood association for 6 years, and how I was a chairperson on the Southeast Priority Board for a couple of years before being elected mayor. I won't take up much time. There's so much out there. If you Google my name, just make sure you spell it correctly. It's Leitzell. You can find out all kinds of stuff about myself and what I've been doing in Dayton for the last 26 years. Thank you for having me. This has been a great opportunity.
Hello, my name is Jordan Wardlam, and I'm running for Dayton City Commissioner. I just want to thank you for inviting me tonight. I'm so glad that we have many people here who are excited and who want change. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am Dayton. I'm born and raised in West Dayton. I'm the son of a homicide police detective, son of a Dayton Municipal Court judge. I had the luxury of working as a police officer for several years to see that people are hungry for change. So I want to be a game changer. First off, what does that mean? I want to make the city more attractive for businesses. I'm a big business guy. I've owned businesses since I was 16 years old. I want jobs, a lot of jobs, high-paying jobs. I think if we have high-paying jobs, it cascades into solutions that we're all going to talk about. How do you do that? It's lowering taxes. I want to lower the income tax 2.5% down to 2%. I want to look at the fiscal spending and make sure we're balancing the budget and make sure we can at least try to go into the black. What does that do? It invites entrepreneurs and investors to come here. I think the current commission, mayor, they're not entrepreneurs, they're not investors. They don't understand profitability. I don't live on a government check. The check I make, the money I make is day by day. I understand that businessman, I understand that businesswoman, investors. And I want to invite big business, I want to recruit big business, large business, small business, and all business. Secondly, I want to give power back to you. It's we the people, it's not the government. The Dayton government's too powerful. We all know that. We have to incorporate citizens into legislation, executive powers in terms of budgeting through town hall meetings, Q&As, public record adherence, oversight boards. Third, lastly, I'm close, police reform. That's near and dear to my heart. I want to make the police department more transparent and accountable. The current police reform is not police reform. We haven't made an initial step at all towards police reform. We are just changing language and dancing around with words. I'm a police officer. I'm a young black man. My civil rights were violated by the Dayton Police Department. The current commission, they're not reforming the police. Police oversight boards, front-facing body cameras. I'm going to change the game. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you, Chaz, for putting this on. Thank you, Mount Enid, for hosting us, and thank you, Omaha, for facilitating. I am Jared Grandy. I'm a candidate for City of Dayton Commission. I am a lifelong resident. I went to Meadowdale High School. Then after high school, I went to Sinclair Community College for 2 years before transferring to the University of Cincinnati, where I majored in criminal justice. After that, I earned a scholarship to Northern Kentucky School of Law. Then came back to Dayton to work at the Urban League, particularly with young people who had touches with the criminal justice system. Eventually, I got a job as the Community Police Relations Coordinator. And there I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of engaged, intelligent, driven citizens. However, a lot of that conversation got stuck in the boardroom and never made its way to the people who made the decisions. I'm running to build a pipeline between the community in the city government. I'm running to be a commissioner as a convener. My platform is rooted in the collective impact model. What that means is that I bring people to the table. We figure out what your talents are. We figure out what you're passionate about, and we put that to work. We work collectively to make our city a better place. I'm also running to protect our environment. We have too many illegal dumping sites. We need to hold property owners accountable for those dumping sites. We need to be aggressive about cleaning those things up. And we need to make sure that people get what they deserve and don't look out the window and see a pile of trash. Make sure their kids aren't playing next to a pile of trash. That's unacceptable, and we're not doing our part to protect the protect the environment. Also, I want to invest in our young people. We produced a great young person with Chaz, but we need to continue to invest in our young people, invest in youth and rec services, and reimagine public safety. That's how we move forward as a city. Thank you.
I'm Commissioner Darrell Fairchild, and I'm running for re-election to Dayton City Commission. I want to thank Chaz Amos, Mount Eden Baptist Church. Big shout out to Reverend Pruitt. Congratulations on your 9th anniversary. Mount Eden was a step on my path to getting here. 30 years ago when I was a seminarian, this addition wasn't in place, but the old basement was where we gathered for meals, and Pastor Cunningham had the lead organization here talking about community organizing, and I was a part of that. One of our mayoral candidates talked about bringing white and black churches together. Reverend Cunningham would have been part of a group back there called White Black Clergy Dialogue that brought us the Peace Bridge and a project called the Vineyard Project. And when I was at Greater Dayton Christian Connections, I was the director over that Vineyard Project, got to meet some of the great people at Mount Eden, who was paired up with Epiphany Lutheran Church, I believe, or Christ United Methodist Church. In that pairing of white and black churches, got to work with people like Barbara Dammons, who helped me understand the issues in Dayton from a different perspective. I'm running for re-election because I have experience that none of the other candidates have. I've been commissioner coming up on 3 years now. It's been some of the difficult 3 years that Dayton has faced. So I've been tested by fire, and I've demonstrated strong leadership through it. I know what needs to happen. We have $147 million coming to Dayton as part of the rescue package. We have an incredible opportunity. That's one-time dollars, but these are assets that can be used into our neighborhoods. And we have a difficult fiscal situation because we don't know how long the recovery will be and what the impact's going to be on our income. So you need someone who's been there and understands the ins and outs of the budget and what can and can't be done. I'm Darrell Fairchild. I ask for your vote for Dayton City Commission.
Got my hand and all. Greetings, Dayton. My name is Shanice Turner-Sloss. I am a candidate for Dayton City Commission. This is not my first rodeo. So I'm saying that to say that I have shown that for one, I have the strength, the perseverance, the grit, the determination to be the next Dayton City Commissioner. So Mount Eden Baptist Church, thank you very much for hosting Chaz. Thank you for your foresight, and I have to thank my brother Maha for being the moderator. And I want to thank all of you who are here this evening and those who are in fact viewing. So let's get to the point. The point is this: we all like nice things. We all believe that we deserve nice things. But the question is, are we receiving those nice things in the city of Dayton? As mentioned, we have $147 million that's slated to come in the city of Dayton from federal aid. How are those dollars, how and where will those dollars be disseminated? Will you be a priority? We have not seen that in the past, and so now it's time for the city of Dayton residents to be innovative, to take charge, to take lead, and to vote new intentional leadership in office. And I'm that candidate. Again, I've worked for the city of Dayton for a number of years. Many other candidates, they have the experience, but only one, that's me, has done the job, and that is administering, federal and state city of Dayton dollars. I have that experience. I am a mother of 3. That is a tough job. And so I'm saying to you, you have to be intentional. It is our time. We're at a pivotal point. No more empty promises. Yeah, we're going to fix the neighborhoods. We heard that in 2017, then look where we are. The most impoverished. In September, the city of Dayton was named one of the most impoverished cities in the nation. So, we have an opportunity to change that. It is the right time. So I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for you to be intentional. You can cast your vote right now at the Board of Election, or you can also wait until May 4th. Again, my name is Shanice Turner-Sloss. I am your next Dayton City Commissioner, and I look forward to answering any questions. ShaniceForDayton.com. Thank you.
Give thanks everybody for sharing your platform. Yeah, you was right. We could have gone 3 minutes. I appreciate to hear the wealth of experience and the different vantage points on your vision for how to move our community forward. So to those in the audience, continue to ask your questions. We've been gathering them. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start, I guess you started to say some time, start with me. So we're going to go straight down. Everybody gets, I think we're going to do 2 rounds. The first round will be like 1 question, you get 2 minutes, and then the next person, another question. So everybody's going to get a question, and I'll just go in the order. So start with you. Shanice, what have been one of the main challenges the city faces in regards to the lack of substantial development in West Dayton?
So, is it okay if I come up here?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, sure.
very good. So let me just share with you all. We all know that the Dayton community has suffered tremendously. We have not recovered from the 2008-2010 economic downturn. So what did that leave us right now? Again, we're at a pivotal point. $147 million is slated to come into the Dayton community. We know that it is a one-time shot in the arm, right, Stacey? But we have to be intentional about how we are using those dollars. And so what I'm saying, as your next Dayton City Commissioner, what I am vowed to do, not a promise, Jared, what I'm vowed and committed to do is to make sure that we are providing, we have a program under my candidacy, Cut the Tape. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our local businesses in the city of Dayton have the same opportunities that the out-of-town investors have by giving them tax abatements. We're going to do that for the homeowners in the city of Dayton. We're going to also make sure that low-interest loans and grants are available to our city of Dayton small and minority businesses. We're going to also make sure that we are intentional in funding our HRC, the MBAC program. You know, it is a tragedy that we made that decision to cut the funding. Cut the funding from an institution that was grounded on protecting the civil rights of the residents in the city of Dayton. So guess what? Me, Shanice, as your next Dayton City Commissioner, we're going to put the funding back into HRC for the MBAC program so we can have more small and minority businesses that are thriving in the city of Dayton, because that is in fact the true answer to how the city of Dayton is going to recover economically. Excuse me. So again, we got to make sure that we provide those opportunities to our small businesses. They have to be trained up. They have to have the technical experiences and necessities that's needed for them to be successful. Shanice Turner-Sloss, the Dayton City Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. And I forgot to mention, so I'll give a mark at do we do 30 seconds or 20 seconds before time's up? 30? Okay. So yeah, at 30 seconds to the end, I'll give a signal that we got 30 seconds left, and then I'll give another one at 10 seconds too. Okay. So Daryl.
Yes.
Your question. Okay. Your question is, what challenges does the city face when it comes to environmental justice? On my street, 7 of 11 houses are vacant and dilapidated. What has caused this problem to linger on, and can we expect to see progress?
Sure. So I think there's 2 questions in there, those related. So, in terms of environmental justice, the city has taken steps to address these issues. We have put up a sustainability plan and hired a director of sustainability. Though in 2019, we were about to develop the new prairie out by the airport. And I stood up to say that I didn't think that we needed that development and that we needed to retain that new prairie as an opportunity for environmental justice. And then one of the things I work for, because we know that water has been an issue, particularly for African Americans, whether it's in Detroit or Flint or whether it's down in Mississippi, that when private entities get hold of water systems, the cost goes up and the quality goes down, even to the point of being deadly. And so what I've done is work very hard to get the charter amendment that's on the ballot now. It's issue number 8. I encourage you to vote yes on 8. 8 is great because that will protect our water from privatization going forward. In terms of the abandoned homes, we need, as people talk about food deserts, we also have real estate deserts across parts of Dayton, particularly West Dayton. And what we've got to do is invest and put dollars into our residential neighborhoods by creating home buying programs, building new homes, renovating those that can be saved, and demolishing those that need to go. And the city does not have a comprehensive housing plan, but we need to look at every tool in the box to make sure that we do that, particularly to use that $147 million that are coming as a one-time opportunity to invest in neighborhoods that haven't seen that investment.
Cool. All right. Okay, Jared, the question is, will you drive crime lower than it is today, and what would be your 3 most important strategies?
Absolutely, absolutely. Crime has been a problem in our community for a while now. We've invested a lot of money in law enforcement initiatives that just hasn't worked. We recently invested almost $600,000 in a surveillance program. They're overpowered, high-powered mics used to surveil communities. They haven't had any positive results. We've also invested in a lot of military equipment. This stuff is unnecessary. It doesn't drive down crime. I'll tell you what drives down crime. To drive down crime, we need to invest in our young people. If you look at the Dayton Police Department budget, then you look at the Youth Rec Services budget in comparison, what you will see is we spend a lot more money over-policing some citizens, especially Black and brown communities, but we don't spend any money investing into our young people. We need to flip that dynamic around. We need to invest in our young people, because if we're going to drive down crime, we have to keep young people occupied, give them something to do, and invest in young people so we create productive adults with jobs and opportunities who would contribute to their neighborhoods. So for me, to drive down crime, again, 1, invest in young people. 2, we have this program, we have these things called pods. 30 seconds, I'm sorry. All right, we have these things called pods, right? We have West Patrol, East Patrol, Central pod. What we need to do is get smaller precincts. What they would do is create this effect of having these beat cops, having people in our community. But we need to change the culture of law enforcement so we can attract people who will be good officers, who will be peace officers, who will be a part of the fabric of this community. We haven't done a good job of that thus far, and that's how we're going to drive down crime.
I'm down to clap.
Okay, all right, Corey.
Public, yeah.
Right, exactly. I see.
So, I had a point of clarity question. Which camera is the Facebook Live camera?
These 3 right here.
Oh, all 3 of them. Okay, I was like, 'cause we didn't mention that, so I want to make sure. Okay, so Jason, your question is.
Jordan?
Oh, Jordan, sorry. what are the ways you can improve the talent pipeline in the community?
That's a great question. I grew up here, and we have the most talented people. I don't think talent's the issue. I feel I was honestly kind of annoyed by that question because I think I'm talented. I think we're all talented. How do you bring it to fruition is the question. It's leadership. So we have the best of the best Dayton workers. We have the best of the best young men.
And ladies.
And ladies, teachers in our public schools. We have great people. We just need the right leadership to put those ingredients together. We need to foster growth. The current climate now is we have a heavy-handed city manager and mayor. And they use each other. If they don't get their way, they press the foot on your neck. If you don't do what they tell you to do, if you don't pay to play, you're gone. That's what we have to get rid of. It's too much power at the top. A one-party system is not good. You need to have somebody at the table that are willing to call people out. We don't need elected officials who need jobs. We need to elect officials who want to get the job done. So talent's not the issue. I'm talented, we're all talented.
Okay, Gary's question is, do you think downtown is healthy and successful? If not, what would you do to change it?
One of the things we need to do is we need to focus back on our neighborhoods. I think for the last 8 years, there's been an over-focus on downtown. I do recall that between 2010 and 2014, when I was mayor, we did a lot of stuff everywhere, because I worked very well with the city manager at that time, Tim Reardon, and he made certain that everybody felt content. While at the same time, we started to develop downtown. Nothing had happened there the previous 8 years, and it started, and I believe that the momentum carried it, and the current commission and administration has just kept that focus there. I mean, some of the things they should never have done, they should never have closed Garden Station when they did. That place could still be running now, and it could have actually helped the Troll Pub over the COVID crisis, where they could have served drinks and stuff outside over there. I mean, I just think they lack the vision that they need here in Dayton, Ohio. One of the things we need to do to bring back the neighborhoods, there are about at least 30 neighborhoods that don't have neighborhood associations, and it would be very easy to grow those neighborhood associations and help them grow and take care of the community where they live. There are other things they could do. If they formed coalitions of neighborhoods, I have a thing here that shows the city of Dayton by neighborhood, and there are 65 neighborhoods in the city of Dayton. If 30 West Side neighborhoods all formed a coalition and came before that commission and said, we want health services on the West Side, we want housing taken care of on the West Side, and if you don't make a move to do it in the next 18 months, we're going to tell everyone in our neighborhoods not to vote for you. That is the power of the people, and we need to get back to the power of the people. Thank you.
Okay, Green. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our city?
Could you repeat?
How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our city?
Okay, thank you for that question. How do I plan to involve the residents in the decision-making process? Well, I'm going to be a mayor that has an open door policy. We've already been to 3,500 homes, knocking on doors, asking the people what they want in their elected representatives. As mayor, I'm an elected representative. I'm not representing myself. I'm representing the citizens of Dayton. So we want to listen to what they say. And what they've been telling us is they want their neighborhoods cleaned up. They want the abandoned homes gotten rid of. They want the metal theft stopped. They want safe communities. So we will listen to them, and they'll be involved in the decision-making process. Well, when I was a fire chief in Dayton, I was tasked with putting together a terrorism plan for 8 counties. Biological, chemical, explosive, radiological, all this. It's overwhelming. One person can't do that. So what I did was I got people of expertise in police, hospital associations, the law, all the entities that would respond to a terrorist attack. We brought them together, we tasked them, we put together the plan. We'll do the same thing with the citizens of Dayton, the neighbors, the residents. We'll get them together, we'll ask them what their priorities are, and then we'll put groups of people together to address each of those entities, be it abandoned houses or whatever. Today when we were out knocking on doors, we went to a house. The house beside this house, the foundation was completely missing on the left side of the house. So we put it on, my wife put it on Facebook, fire department contacted us, they're gonna go over there Monday, take a look at it, and they can condemn that house that day and have it torn down that week because it is a hazard. So just bringing resources to the table, listening to the neighbors, that's good, that's our answer to that question.
Okay, Valerie, in full transfer, I'm going to add a little bit to this question only because this question might be a little bit harder of interest. It says, what neighborhood do you live in and why? And let's say, what is your vision for neighborhoods? Because that's kind of a hard one to answer for 2 minutes.
Okay, thanks for that question. Yes, I live in the Eastern Hills neighborhood, and my mother was getting elderly and needed help, so I do have my own house, but I moved into her house to help her. Now, my vision for neighborhoods is the same vision that they have for downtown. We have to get the neighborhoods back on track, get them organized so that we have regular neighborhood meetings, that the different, like the police, the fire on a different occasion, goes to those neighborhood meetings and shares information as to, you know, what they're doing. Also have people from other parts of the city departments to come out, public works. They need to know about their waste collection, their trash removal, recycling, and on and on. Each department educate the public as to what each department is doing and what they're responsible for. Now, we have a crisis, a housing crisis in the city. That didn't come along just overnight. The people that are currently the city commission should have been more attentive and more committed to putting more dollars, funding, general funding should have started a long time ago for the housing division. I was a housing inspector. We used to have at one time 56 housing inspectors. When I was a housing inspector, it was about 34. Now we're down to 2. And I've been around all these different neighborhoods. I can still see where, if there was a housing inspector, they would have prevented a porch from falling down. And this gets me really, really upset.
5 seconds.
Because I've seen the deterioration. And as a city commissioner, if you elected me, I will make sure that our tax dollars, your tax dollars, go to the housing inspection, and then you'll get the services that you need to protect and stabilize your all the houses in the neighborhood.
Please pray. Keep praying.
Okay, Scott, yours is kind of a two-part question. It's how do we feel about the transportation options for students and adults in our city? Do we have enough options, and what will you do to increase those options?
What was the first word?
Sorry.
I would say temptation.
No, I said transportation.
Transportation, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, well, that's a big question.
Yeah. So no town.
All right, I'm going to start preaching here now. Transportation options. Yeah, well, everybody knows that it's difficult for some people to get around. I'll give you an example from my own life. You know, I woke up one morning and I had this big crisis. We were out of half and half. It was 6 in the morning. 6 in the morning, and what did I do? I went, well, my wife's still sleeping. I want to make sure that I have some coffee for her. So what do? I jump in my car, and I drive to the Kroger on Smithville Road. I get the cream, and I come back. And I realize not everybody can do that. You know, not everybody has that luxury. You have a single mom with a couple kids, no cars. It's a hassle. It's 2 buses and several hours just to do what I did in 20 minutes. I recognize that. When I think about the difficulties that people have, you know, the things that I've always taken for granted my whole life, I've come to terms with over the past 6 or 7 years that my kids didn't have to worry about when they were pulled over. You know, they just didn't think about those kinds of things. And so, you know, what's happening in our country right now, my kids would get in a car and they could drive anywhere, and they were never afraid, and I was never afraid for them. So I want our city to be a safe place. I've been on one of the community police councils. I was on the community police council for 3.5 years, and I've been on one of the police reform working groups. And I want our city to be safe for everyone to get around in. So thank you very much for the question.
Okay. So, this is a 2-part question. If you are not elected commissioner, are you willing to support the winners to help build back our community? And what will you do to continue the fight?
As I stated earlier, I left my job because I believe in the city. And so if I am not elected, whoever is sitting up here, one thing that I say is that everybody in this race has passion. They wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't love the city. And that's everybody that's sitting here. And so for me, the same thing that I do, I mean, I'm at commission meetings in people's faces all the time. I'm gonna be in your face. I'm gonna be in your face talking to you, just like I would. I feel like that one thing that we have in common is that we all have talked to and heard what this city needs. What we have different ideas about how to do it, but I'm all about problem solving from the center, from the inside out. We all have a common goal, and that's to make our city better, period. And so for me, whoever those people are, I'm going to keep showing up at the city commission meetings like I was showing up at the city commission meetings before. One thing I liked about being the union rep was when I walked into the commission chambers, whether it's the city or the county, everybody says, what she doing here is something wrong. I want them to still say what she's doing here is something wrong, whether I'm the commissioner or not. And I expect every one of these candidates to do the same thing if I were to be elected. Was that two? Was that the first part or the second part?
The second part was what will you do to continue to fight?
Oh, I got it all in. Okay.
Okay. So for those that know, I teach up at Sinclair, and there's times when I say my students we live in a quasi-democracy. So there's a couple more questions. Do you want me to pick 1 or 2 more and then everybody answer, or do you want to call it a wrap, or what do you guys think? You said 7:30? What time is it now?
My wife shows up.
Okay. No problem. Okay.
My campaign manager. Here you go.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah, so what we'll do is I got 3 more questions. I'll probably ask at least 2 of them. And whoever wants to answer can answer. We'll go a minute and a half. Okay? Okay. All right, so the next question is, what can youth get involved? How can youth get involved to help their city?
Okay, I'll take that one. All right. So, and I apologize to the viewers. We are in a global pandemic, so hence the mask. But the bottom line is this. We have to get more people engaged in the democratic process. One of the the devastating truth is that in 2015, our current administration decided and voted to dismantle the priority boards. Now, a lot of people don't even know what the priority boards were. How many of you know what the priority boards were? Show of hands. Very few. I'm sure all the candidates know, but very few in the audience. The bottom line is this. The city of Dayton had a world-renowned form of participation, citizen participation, and they threw it away. Instead of going in, correcting it, making it better, they went out a way to how we can involve the youth to be a part of the democratic process. We dismantle it. So what we need people to do, and I'm very excited about this time, there is a new energy in the air. Hence the reason why you see all of these candidates up here, right? But the bottom line is we need people to show up, to give voice to the issues, which they have been doing. I say one thing is this. The previous administration, 45, he really charged people. People were forming, working together in consolidation, and really collectively, working together collectively, and they were really giving voice to the issues, marching in the streets, in the global pandemic, and that's what we need people to do. To show up at your local commission meetings, whether it's the city or the county, and as well as the school board. Show up and give voice to these issues.
Okay, the question was, how can youth get involved to help their city?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the last major projects I worked on before I left the Dayton Human Relations Council was a project to build neighborhood capacity in their own neighborhood. We was in Residence Park. So they had neighborhood association meetings, which many neighborhoods do. But it's not just enough to have a meeting. It's not just enough to have a priority board. I agree with Shanice. We need to bring back those mechanisms of communication. But once we do, what we have to do is hire organizers to go out into the community, knock on doors, engage young people, whether or not that's the corner store, whether or not that's going into Dayton Public Schools, or wherever they are. You need to meet the kids where they're at, meet the young people where they're at, and be very intentional about bringing them in. That's what we did in Residence Park, and when we did that, we lowered that median age of that meeting by at least 30 years. So there's ways to bring young people in, and we gotta appreciate their gifts once we bring them in, right? We can't bring them in and then ignore them. We have to appreciate their gifts, their talents. If they're artists, give them an opportunity to do art. If they rap, give them an opportunity to rap. If they draw, give them an opportunity to draw. Whatever their talent is, we need to cultivate that, and it's on us as adults to bring them in and support them and prop them up, and I will lead that charge, whatever happens.
Anyone else? Okay. So the question was, how can you get involved to help their city? You. Sorry.
Yes, I think working with different avenues, when we had the Boys and Girls Club, that was really helpful. And I know Linden Youth Center was real helpful out there in that one part of town. And so what we need to do through the city, through the school board, is to organize the young people into groups, probably by neighborhood, so they can start attending the neighborhood meetings. Also, there needs to be a connection between the neighborhoods and the schools. See, so you have the schools, you have the neighborhoods, you have the churches, and what are other agencies there in the neighborhood, and all kind of linked together. And then also in the schools, they used to have civics class where you'd learn about the Constitution, the 3 branches of government, the Bill of Rights. And now we don't have that. We have a watered down version of civics. It's called social studies. My niece learned about Galileo and Copernicus and all their white European inventors and scientists. No Asian, no other culture. So we need to revise our civics classes, and so that youth will then understand what it is to be a citizen, what it is to vote, what is our local government, how does it function, how does the county government function, and all these other things.
Well, what we don't want youth to do is sit in meetings and talk. That's what politicians do. The old saying, after all is said and done, there's a lot more said than done. They're talking about politicians. Youth need to be involved, hands-on. As an example, Chaz Amos, Pastor Joel Burton, Pastor Caleb Ingram, they organized a cleanup in 2019, April 4th, 2019. Got 1,200 volunteers together, collected 129 tons of litter in 4 hours, 21,000 pounds of tires, and then they cooperated with the city of Dayton. The city of Dayton trash came and picked all that up. So that was in 30 neighborhoods. In 4 hours, half of the neighborhoods litter was removed. And so, you know, they have to have a vision. Young people have to have a vision. Right now, what are they doing? They're playing video games. They don't have a vision for anything greater than their little video game. We got to get them excited. We got to cast vision and give them hands-on things to do. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Do you need to get a question in there, or no? Okay.
So when I think of our young people, I think about a day when I was over at DECA High School, and I think it was maybe 40, 70 of their juniors. And I asked them, how many of you know someone who's been killed because of gun violence? And every hand went up. And it made me be mindful of how much trauma our young people are exposed to in Dayton. And so when I think about young people, and the other piece that informs my work is I'm also the manager of chaplain services over at Dayton Children's Hospital. And so I see another side of our young people there. We need to create a safe city for our young people. That's why it's so important to do this work in our neighborhoods and get those cleaned up. But more important than that, we need to get adults engaged with young people so they're in relationship with young people, because that's what can make a significant difference. I know when I was 16 and my father died, it was my baseball coach, my Boy Scouts, the customers on my paper route, the members of my church that helped me and my family get me through that time and helped me to stay healthy and whole. And so too many of our young people don't have that opportunity, and we need to do a better job as a community. Safe neighborhoods, build relationships with them, and bring programming for them as well.
No, I think I'm good. So all of the things that have been talked about. It's not open. Oh, did you turn it on? There we go. We absolutely have to do all of the things that we talked about. We have to engage in the communities, organizing, bringing people in. We have to do programming. And that's one of the things that I want to do. I think we need to have, I'll call it an innovation council, where we bring high school students, college students, young professionals, senior soldiers, retired people to the table, similar to our task force, so that we have, we asked 100 people to show up for the police reform and 100 plus showed up. We need to educate. We struggle because people don't know the process and how government works. Exactly what Valerie said. A lot of people don't know what the government can do or how the government does what they do, and we need to start that with our young people. The purpose of the Innovation Council isn't going to be or shouldn't be just one thing that they're talking about. We need to be talking about what the city looks like, what the future of the city looks like for our young people and our young adults. We need to be talking about investment. We need to be talking about neighborhoods. We need to be talking about innovation. And so we need to bring young people to the table and have those conversations so that we then can hit the streets and do the work.
Yes, that's a great question. It's very multidimensional. Me being a former police officer, first what we can start doing is not criminalizing kids. We're seeing across the nation kids being, forces being used on stealing a candy bar, or kids are going to jail for the smallest misdemeanor. That's not helping the kid grow. So I think first and foremost is we can change our government on how we treat the youth. And the second dimension to this is I feel like I'm special because I had a mom and dad. A lot of youth don't have moms and dads. So it's very, very multidimensional. We have to help the parents. If the parents don't have jobs, good paying jobs, it's going to be hard for them to be good parents. So it's not a silver line or a silver bullet question answer to this, but it's a great question. I think we should think more about it, how neighbors can be more neighborly. When I grew up back in the day, neighbors loved each other. I mean, I would get my butt whooped from my neighbor, and my mom and dad was okay with it. But now people are calling the police for things that are non-police issues. Too many teachers are calling the police to their schools for non-police issues. That's a great question. Thank you.
Thanks. I think it's twofold. One, obviously, organizing. I was asked to put together a mentoring program at Horace Mann last year. We started in January and got off to a great start, and then, of course, COVID hit, and it kind of ended that, but it didn't stop me personally from mentoring kids. One kid that I've been mentoring for quite some time, I called him. I don't think it's hard to get kids involved. You just call and invite them. Hey, there was a cleanup for Gem City Market in the neighborhood around there. You want to go? And he jumped at the opportunity. When our church was doing tornado relief, there were neighborhoods that weren't being cleaned up. So I drove a dump truck every Saturday for 8 weeks, and we were just cleaning up neighborhoods, and he went along with me. And I've continued that relationship with him. And he went with me to the Gem City Market, got gloves and a grabber, and we walked around for a while, and after we were done, I took him to breakfast. We went to the brunch club, and we spent time together. And he reached out to me the other night, and he said, hey, he calls me Mr. Scott. Hey, Mr. Scott, I want to do a remix for you for your campaign. Send me 10 photos, and I'm going to put these to music, and I want to do this video for you. So for me, just a simple invite to do a cleanup turned into somebody who wanted to help with my campaign. Yeah. Last but not least.
Hello, everyone. Gary Lightsell, former mayor, running for mayor. And I wanted to go last on purpose because I wanted to listen to what everyone had to say. And I think if we implement some of these ideas, we'll get some results. The other thing I think we need to do is we need to listen to the kids. What do they want? How do they see leadership leading them to live good, productive lives? Something people don't know, before I left office, I donated $12,000 to the Dayton Foundation for a program that the city never implemented. It was called Kids in Dayton Safe. It was to keep them off the streets and get them into the rec centers. And the $12,000 came from the 600 weddings I performed over 4 years. Now that money is still sitting there with the Dayton Foundation. And if you elect me, I will apply that to getting the youth more involved, because that's what it was. It was there to keep them off the streets, and now we can utilize it to get them educated and be productive in Dayton. 30 seconds. I'm done. Thank you very much.
What's that saying? Be brief, my brother, be brief. Yeah, so I think we want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. By the grace of God, I've been able to do some work with youth over the years. And one thing that surprises, that I'm always try to emphasize, is this notion that, oftentimes we talk about youth as being leaders in the future, but I think Chaz has shown that, our young people are leading now, right? And that you lead where you're at. You know what I mean? It's like Scott had mentioned, that's leadership, right? With the brother that he brought to the market and different things, right? And so it's like how we empower youth to lead where they're at. So I want to again congratulate Chaz on his first training. And thank everybody for coming out. We want to thank the audience, for the I know, I didn't see the peak, but I know it's been steady, about 30, 35 people the whole time. With that, it's been great facilitating this dialogue. I'm going to hand it off to Chaz to close it out.
So I want to say thank you to all of the candidates for coming out. Most of us have had a personal conversation either this evening or at one of the cleanups. It's honestly an honor to be able to be in these spaces, because my main goal is to encourage people who are younger than me that it's not corny, it's not cheesy to be in spaces like this. So being able to organize an event and have you all show up, one means that you care. So regardless of what your platform is, regardless of what your party is, I respect each and every last one of you for that, and I want to let you know. While I am up here for the last couple of minutes, I want to just let some of our viewers know about the programs that I run. So I Love West Dayton is a West Dayton beautification operation. Most of you are familiar with it. For more information, you can go to www.ilovewestdayton.com. And that's all I'll say about that. But I really just want to say thank you to all the candidates and to any young people who are watching. If anyone needs help organizing anything, if anyone needs help planning something, reach out to me, reach out to Amaha, because the reason why I'm standing here is because I was given those opportunities. I'll be really brief, but two trips that changed my life, and Commissioner Fairchild, I'm sure you're aware of them. The first one was a trip to Oakland, California to meet President Barack Obama. The city of Dayton helped send me out there. The second trip was that July, the same year, 2019, I was able to go to the I was able to travel to Los Angeles for the United States Conference of Mayors Youth Summit. So being able to be in those spaces and be around other young people who want to be leaders, it was very, very inspiring. So again, I just want to say thank you to our 30, 40 viewers out there. Thank you to the candidates, and do not forget, the primary election is May 4th, Tuesday.
How many days?
How many days until the election? 10 days. You have 10 days to go early vote. You have 10 days to take. So again, I want to say thank you to our mayoral candidates and our commission candidates, and we want to remind everyone to go out and vote. And we always want to remind you that voting is important. Special thanks to our pastor, Pastor Corey J. Pruitt at the Mount Eden Baptist Church, and the entire Mount Eden Baptist Church staff. This would not be possible without their help, and I will leave it at that. I hope that everyone has a great evening and you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.